You're watching Forsaken Joe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy the story. Let's begin. I knew something was off the second I saw that damn pottery wheel in the garage. It showed up one Saturday in April, shoved between my toolbox and the water heater like it belonged there. Still had the tag on it. $800, according to the receipt I found stuffed in the bottom of the trash can. No conversation, no heads up. Just one more thing Kayla needed for her creativity. My name's Jack Coulson. I'm 43 years old. I live in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm a mechanical engineer for a defense contractor, and for 16 years, I've been married to the woman everyone swears is perfect. Kayla's the local golden girl, dental surgeon, own practice, perfect teeth, perfect tan, perfect Instagram smile. People love her. I used to. We've got a 14-year-old daughter, Lila, who's sharper than hell and too observant for her own good. We live in a quiet cul-de-sac in Mira Vista, 2-story colonial, 2 leased cars, 1 golden retriever, and a marriage people would kill for, from the outside anyway. We had a system. I paid the bills, I kept the yard clean, I made sure Lila had structure, stability. I liked order. I liked knowing where things were going. Kayla used to like that about me, but lately. She'd been different. It started small, shopping sprees, $1,000 credit card hits for clothes she'd never worn, yoga retreats, crystals, sage bundles. Then came the vague crap. I need to rediscover myself, and you wouldn't understand, Jack, it's a soul thing. And the eye rolls. Jesus. She could cut glass with one of those. Then she started taking long showers at night with her phone on the sink, always screen down, always smiling when she got a text, never saying who it was. She'd laugh at something and walk out of the room when I asked. One night, I walked into the kitchen and she flinched, slammed her laptop shut like a kid getting caught cheating. I didn't say anything. It's not that I didn't want to. I just didn't recognize the woman standing in front of me anymore. She wasn't angry and she wasn't apologetic. She just looked bored, like I was some dusty bookshelf she hadn't noticed in years. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. The perfect little life we'd built. It was still standing, but the cracks had started. And Kayla, she was already somewhere else. That night, I stood in the garage, staring at that pottery wheel. I reached out and ran my hand over the top of it, then grabbed the receipt and walked back inside. I left the receipt on the kitchen counter, didn't say a word about it. Next morning, Kayla walked right past it like it wasn't even there. She made herself a smoothie with some overpriced powder from Whole Foods and asked if I could pick up Lila from school that afternoon. Just business as usual. Later that week, she dropped the name. Chase Allen messaged me, she said, real casual, like we were talking about a neighbor's dog. From college, remember him? I didn't, but I nodded like I did. She lit up, leaning against the fridge, tapping her nails against her glass. He's an urban planner now, or something like that. Lives in Austin. Does these city revitalization projects. He's been doing really well. Urban planner, my ass. That night, she left her phone on the couch when she went to shower. I don't usually snoop, but something felt off. So I picked it up. His name was saved under Chase A. I shit you not with the little leaf emoji. Messages scrolled like a Hallmark movie script. Stuff like, you always had such a fire in UK. Don't let it die. And remember that beach trip sophomore year? God, we were electric. Her replies, just as bad. You always saw the real me. Jack doesn't get it. He never did. I put the phone down before I broke it in half. The next few days were like watching a slow-motion train wreck. She started dressing different. More makeup, tighter clothes. Started referencing him in casual conversations. Chase said this. Chase posted that. I didn't ask, but she kept volunteering info. He sends me these voice notes, she said once while scrolling through her phone. He's so thoughtful. His energy's just different. Different from me, right? That was the point. She started working late, always at the clinic, always with vague stories about emergencies or inventory runs. Never invited me, never gave details. Then came the new passwords. Her phone locked faster. Her laptop had new logins. She carried her devices from room to room like they were organs. I didn't accuse her. I watched. She'd kiss my cheek out of habit, then flinch like she forgot who I was. At dinner, she barely looked up from her phone. When Lila talked, Kayla would smile at the wrong moments, like she wasn't even listening. I started keeping track: bank statements, receipts, call logs. I didn't want revenge. I wanted facts. I needed the truth without her spin on it. One night, around 11, she came home smelling like sandalwood and red wine. I was in the living room, watching TV with the sound off. "You're still up?" she asked, surprised. "Yeah, couldn't sleep." She hovered in the doorway, purse still on her shoulder. Then she said it, careful, almost rehearsed. "I'm meeting Chase next week, just for coffee." Just for coffee. I muted the TV, looked her dead in the eyes, and said, "Okay." She didn't say anything else after that. Just walked off to bed, like we were still normal. Next morning, I made a call I never thought I'd make. Ron Talley. We served together in Afghanistan back in 2005. He got out, did some time with state police, now works full-time as a licensed PI based out of Weatherford. No nonsense, straight shooter. He picked up on the second ring. "Jack, been a while?" "Yeah," I said. "I've got a situation." "You still do surveillance?" "You name it," he said. "Who's the target?" "My wife." I gave him the names, dates, patterns, even Chase Allen's social handles. Ron didn't blink. "Give me 2 weeks." He didn't need to. By the 4th day, he sent me a PDF. I opened it at my desk at work, door locked, hotel receipts. 2 in Austin, 1 local, 30 minutes from our house. Dinners, not just takeout, but white tablecloth, $300 bills, all charged to our joint card. My name, my dime. Then the photos, blurry at first but clear enough. Kayla and Chase in a hotel parking lot, holding hands, her head on his shoulder. One shot of her kissing him next to our car, the same one I'd filled with gas the day before. I didn't even feel angry. It was like something in me shut off. I didn't confront her. I didn't throw plates or call her names. I did what I'm good at. I made a plan. First step, financial firewalls. I separated my savings into a new account under my name only. I closed 2 joint credit cards and reduced the limit on the third to $100. I rerouted my direct deposit and opened a trust account with my brother, naming Leila as beneficiary. I froze my business line of credit, locked down everything I could. Then I contacted a divorce attorney, real sharp guy in downtown Fort Worth, referred by a coworker. He knew exactly what to do. "Play it cool," he said. "Let her come to you. Don't make waves, just be ready." That Saturday, she made her move. I was making eggs in the kitchen when she walked in barefoot, hair still damp. Her tone was polite, rehearsed. "Can we talk?" I nodded, turned off the burner, and wiped my hands. She sat at the island, folding her arms like she was about to deliver a business pitch. "I've been thinking a lot, and I don't want to hurt you, but I think it's time we separate." I said nothing. She cleared her throat. "I'm going to move in with Chase. He gets me, Jack. He listens. I feel alive again, and I can't ignore that." I leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "Okay." Her face twitched. That wasn't the reaction she'd prepared for. "I didn't come to this lightly," she added, "but we've grown apart. You know that." I said okay, I repeated. Then I grabbed my phone off the counter. "My lawyer will contact you." She blinked. "Wait, what? You already talked to someone?" "Yep." Silence. Then she stood, arms stiff at her sides. "You're not even going to fight for this?" "Nope." Another beat passed. She looked at the floor, then back up at me. "I didn't think you'd be this cold." I shrugged. "I didn't think you'd cheat." She flinched at that, but didn't deny it. I didn't wait for more. I went upstairs, packed a bag with a week's worth of clothes, my laptop, and a few files. I left my wedding ring on the dresser. Lila was at soccer practice with a neighbor. I'd already arranged for her to stay there overnight. By the time Kayla came back downstairs, I was walking out the door. I drove straight to the short-term rental I'd lined up 2 weeks earlier, a furnished apartment off Bryant Irvin, close enough to Lila's school, far enough from Kayla. I unpacked, locked up the documents in the desk drawer, and sat on the edge of the bed staring at my phone. 2 hours later, I texted Kayla. "Let Lila know I'll pick her up tomorrow at 5. Next evening, Lila climbed into my car with her soccer bag and that uneven smile she gets when she doesn't know how to feel. "Hey, Dad," she said, like she wasn't sure if I was mad at her too. "Hey, Bug," I said, rubbing her shoulder. "You hungry?" We grabbed burgers. She picked at her fries, quiet for a few minutes. Then the dam broke. Chase bought me an iPad, the new one, with the pen. I kept my eyes on the road. Nice. He said I should use it to make digital art. He thinks I have a creative gift. Cool. He's so fun, she added. Like, really fun. We made smoothies from scratch last night and stayed up late watching this artsy movie he picked. He said, rules are for people who stopped growing. I gripped the steering wheel tighter. She kept going. He said you're, like, really structured, and that's fine, but it's not how real artists think. I pulled into the apartment complex, parked, and turned to her. Inside, then homework. Her face twisted. Chase doesn't make me do it right away. I'm not Chase. She rolled her eyes, but grabbed her bag and followed me in. Over the next few weeks, I heard more than I wanted to. Chase lets me have coffee. Chase gave me $60 just to have fun with. Chase says I don't have to know what I want to be. That pressure kills creativity. He was buying her, with freedom, with chaos disguised as magic. He was building himself up by tearing down everything I'd ever taught her. Discipline, responsibility, follow-through. One night, she said it right to my face. I think Chase is like my storybook dad. I nodded, said nothing, pretended it didn't land like a punch to the throat. She went to bed. I stayed on the couch, phone in hand, staring at the blank screen for a long time. I could have blown the whole thing open, told her about the hotel rooms, the debt, the lies, but I didn't. I wasn't going to win with words, not against the guy with the big ideas and the movie star charm. I had to outlast him. So I started with myself. I got up early, started running again, cut carbs, stopped drinking. I went back to the gym, then added a BJJ class 3 nights a week. I opened a new savings plan for Lila's college and called a financial planner to restructure my investments. I started checking in with my old mentors, getting serious about launching my own consulting firm. I kept every receipt, every invoice, every missed pickup Kayla forgot, every reckless charge Chase made using accounts still tied to my name. I didn't argue. I documented. I made dinner for Lila every night she stayed with me. I sat with her while she did homework. I made her turn her phone off at 9. I enforced the rules, not because I wanted control, but because I loved her enough to give her something solid. Let Chase be the sparkler. I'd be the steel. And when the time came, she'd see the difference. A week after Lila's storybook dad comment, Ron called. "You got a minute?" he asked. "Yeah," I said, walking out of the gym and into the parking lot. Chase is a ghost. No registered W-2, no business filings, no consistent income in over 4 years. Whatever urban planning he claims he does, it's not legit. I leaned against my truck, jaw tight. "Keep going." He's got 4 credit cards and collections, 2 personal loans, 1 judgment pending from an old landlord in Austin, and get this, Kayla's been co-signing his crap. New card last month, joint application, already maxed. I didn't say anything. He's using her, Jack. This is textbook. Once the money dries up, he's gone. I hung up and called my attorney. We moved fast. The house was technically owned by a family, trust my parents set up when I got married. Kayla never understood the legal structure. She just assumed her name on the mailbox meant something. It didn't. We filed the eviction notice through the trust. 60-day notice to vacate due to abandonment of marriage and misuse of trust assets. A week later, I got the call. Kayla. Middle of the day. Voice shaking. "Jack, what the hell is this?" She snapped. "I got some letter from a lawyer saying I have to move out." "That can't be real." "It's real. You can't kick me out of my own house." "It's not your house." She went quiet for a second. "We've lived here 16 years. And I structured it so that if this exact situation ever happened, the trust could reclaim the property. You walked, you broke it, now you deal with it." "I didn't walk. You left." "No. I got out of your way." She hung up. That same week, I pulled the plug on the cars. We'd leased 2, a Lexus RX for her, a Grand Cherokee for me, both under my LLC. I had the dealer terminate her contract and repossess the Lexus. She came home from Pilates to find it gone. 2 hours later, she texted me, "You're being cruel." I didn't respond. Chase started showing up less. Ron said his car was spotted in Denton, then in Round Rock, then back in Fort Worth 2 nights later, but never overnight at the house. Lila started noticing too. "Chase said he's working on a huge city project," she told me one night, but her voice didn't carry the same sparkle. But he's always too busy to hang out. I nodded. That happened a lot. She shrugged. He says he's creating something important. Meanwhile, I was tightening the bolts on every corner of my life. My lawyer filed the final divorce petition. My financial guy locked in the asset transfers. I had a new business entity set up under a clean name, unrelated to Kayla in any legal or financial way. I even sold the rental cabin in Granbury and rolled the equity into a trust for Lila. One night, I checked the credit card dashboard and saw 2 failed payments on the account Kayla had added Chase to. Balance, just under $8,000. I froze the account. The next morning, she blew up my phone with calls and texts. Didn't answer a single one. That evening, I was at my apartment cooking when there was a hard knock at the door. I opened it to find Kayla standing there, wearing sweatpants and sunglasses, at 7 p.m. "You froze the cards," she said, voice flat. "Yep, and I couldn't even buy groceries. Should have planned ahead." "This isn't you," she hissed. "This is petty and cold." "No, Kayla, this is me finally making sure you don't set fire to everything I built." She looked like she wanted to scream. Instead, she turned, marched down the hall, and disappeared into the parking lot. I shut the door and went back to stirring the pasta. The pasta was still warm when my phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't Kayla. It was my CPA. "Everything's filed," she said. "Audit initiated. We'll start with the clinic's last 6 quarters. Your partner agreement gives you full rights." "Pull everything," I said. "Payroll, reimbursements, vendor contracts, marketing spend, all of it." See, when Kayla opened her dental practice 7 years ago, I was the one who set it up. My money, my lawyer, my structure. It was legally owned under a holding company we created together, 70-30 split. She didn't care at the time, said she just wanted to focus on patients. But that 70% gave me teeth when it counted, and now it counted. I froze all profit distributions until the audit finished. She could still pull a base salary. That was her employment agreement. But everything else, off limits, bonuses, dividend draws, partner perks, gone. The next morning, she called. "Are you insane?" She snapped the second I picked up. "I just got a notice from the CPA that you're freezing the distributions. That's my clinic." "No," I said calmly, "that's our clinic. Legally speaking, 70% mine. You just run it." She exhaled sharply. "I need those funds to operate. You have payroll, you have overhead, you'll manage. I have a business to run, Jack. Then you should have kept your business clean." She went quiet. I continued. "I saw Chase's name on vendor invoices. Why the hell is he giving input on ad campaigns and website redesigns?" "He's helping me reposition the brand," she said, defensive. "Is he getting paid for that?" "Not directly." "Not directly," I repeated. "He used the company card 3 times last month. Hotel bar, a spa, and a goddamn clothing boutique in Bishop Arts." She sputtered. I didn't approve that." "Well, someone did, and I'm not footing the bill. I needed support. He was there for me when you weren't. Kayla, you wanted control. Now you have consequences." She went quiet again. I could hear her breathing shift, softer, like she wanted to cry but wouldn't let herself. "You're punishing me," she finally said. "No, I'm protecting what I built." She hung up. 2 days later, Ron texted me a photo. Chase standing outside some cafe in South Lake with a woman who looked about 10 years older than Kayla, wearing a designer blazer and driving a Tesla. Caption, "New target." I called him. "He's already sniffing around." I asked. "Looks like it." Guy's got a pattern. Attaches himself to high-income women. Bleeds them until the tap runs dry. He's always consulting. Always got some half-finished pitch deck. Total con man. "Nay, keep eyes on him," I said. "Let me know if he moves." That afternoon, Kayla called again. This time, her voice was flatter, more calculated. "I want you out of the holding company," she said. "Buyout. Let's end this clean." I laughed once. "You think I'm letting go of a 7-figure business I funded and structured just because you're uncomfortable?" "It's toxic," she said. "We can't both be in control." "You never were." She hung up again. I forwarded her demand to my lawyer, who replied with one sentence, "Let her sweat." I spent the rest of that week collecting everything Chase had touched. Emails, expense reports, even his name listed as a strategic advisor on her new clinic brochure. Idiots don't realize printers keep logs. I gave it all to the CPA team. By Friday, Kayla's office manager called me directly. "Mr. Coulson, I'm not trying to get in the middle of anything, she said, nervous. But Chase has been coming in during business hours, using Kayla's office, telling the front desk staff what to do. He's overstepping. Document everything, I said. Time, dates, anything you hear. Should I tell Kayla? No, just keep your head down and hit record. I hung up, leaned back in my chair, and stared at the ceiling. The walls were closing in, not because I pushed them, but because she handed Chase the damn blueprint. And now the collapse was starting. It was a Thursday morning when Kayla finally broke. My phone rang at 6:17 a.m. I almost didn't answer. Figured it was another pathetic attempt to argue about the clinic. But something in my gut told me to pick up. Her voice was cracked, like she hadn't slept. He's gone. I didn't say anything. He left in the middle of the night. Took his clothes, laptop, even his toothbrush. He didn't even take his stupid guitar. Just left this note. I waited. It says, I need to chase my purpose. You'll be okay without me. That's all it says. Still, I stayed quiet. I don't know where he is. He blocked my number. His email bounced back. That sounds like a him problem. No, Jack, this is a me problem. I let this happen. I let him into my life, my business, my daughters. I cut her off. Don't call me to unpack it. Call your therapist. I hung up. 2 hours later, Lila called. Her voice was small. Dad, can I stay with you for a few days? Of course. What's going on? I woke up and Mom was crying. Chase is gone. She won't stop pacing. It's freaking me out. I'm on my way. When I pulled up to the house, Lila was already waiting outside with her duffel and backpack. She slid into the front seat, slammed the door, and stared straight ahead. We drove in silence for a minute before she finally spoke. Did you know this would happen? I kept my eyes on the road. Yeah, I did. She looked over. Why didn't you tell me? Because sometimes the truth doesn't stick until it hits you in the face. She leaned back in the seat, arms crossed. He said so many things. That we were alike, that he'd always be around. Some people are like that, I said. They say whatever sounds good in the moment, but the moment life gets heavy, they disappear. She was quiet again, but this time it felt different, like a weight was shifting off her. At the next red light, I looked at her. You okay? Not really, she said. But I'm glad you came. I nodded. I'll always come. Back at the apartment, she unpacked while I made us grilled cheese. We watched reruns of Mythbusters on the couch, no phones, no noise, just calm. That night, I tucked her in for the first time in months. She didn't say much, just hugged me tighter than usual. After she fell asleep, I stood in the hallway for a long minute, staring at her door. The storm had passed, but I knew better than to celebrate yet. The damage was real. The healing was going to take time, but we were here, together, and that was enough to start. The gym at Lila's school was packed. Folding chairs, tri-fold displays, nervous kids in button-ups trying to act like experts. I spotted her right away, standing tall next to a solar-powered water filtration system she'd built from scratch. Elena stood beside me, one hand resting on my arm, the other holding a coffee. She smiled as we watched Lila explain her project to the judges like she'd invented NASA tech. She's sharp, Elena said, like scary sharp. She gets it from me, I said, half joking, and maybe a little from you. Elena rolled her eyes, but I caught the grin. Then I saw Kayla. She stood across the gym, behind a row of parents, trying to keep her head up. Hair frizzy, makeup half done, blazer wrinkled. She clapped when the judges gave Lila a high score, but didn't step forward, didn't make eye contact. Eventually, she drifted closer. When the presentations ended, Lila came running up to us, straight past Kayla, and hugged Elena first. You were amazing, Elena said, hugging her back. You're going to change the world. Kayla walked up slowly, like her shoes were filled with cement. Hi, Lila, she said. Lila turned and gave her a quick side hug. Thanks for coming, Mom. That's all. Lila ran off to find her friends. Elena nodded at me and stepped away, giving me space. Kayla lingered. She's grown up, she said softly. Yeah, she had to. We stood in silence for a beat. She shifted her weight, then finally looked at me. Did you know, she asked, about Chase? From the start. I did, I said. She swallowed hard. Why didn't you say anything? You wouldn't have listened. She nodded slowly. You were right. He used me, used everything I had, and when it dried up, he vanished. That's what he does? I was stupid. You were selfish, I corrected. She flinched but didn't deny it. Do you think you'll ever be able to forgive me? I looked her in the eyes. I don't hate you, Kayla, but I'll never go backward. She took a shaky breath. I miss what we had. You miss the version of me that tolerated your bullshit. That guy's gone. She looked down, blinking fast. Is there any chance we could... No, I said, cutting her off. I've already built something better. She looked past me toward Elena, who was laughing with Lila near the vending machines. Polished, calm, safe, everything Kayla used to pretend to be. I don't know how to fix this, she whispered. That's not my problem anymore. I turned and walked away. When I reached the truck, Lila was already climbing into the back seat, still glowing from the praise she'd gotten. Elena slid into the passenger seat and looked over at me. You good? She asked. I put the key in the ignition, nodded once. Yeah, I'm good. The proposal plan was already in motion. The ring was hidden in the back of my nightstand. Simple platinum band, emerald cut diamond, elegant as hell. Elena didn't need flash. She just needed to feel steady, wanted, real, same as me. It had been a full year since the science fair. Life didn't just settle, it leveled up. My aerospace consulting firm landed a long-term defense contract with Lockheed last month. I had a 5-year roadmap and 3 engineers on payroll. The office, 4 blocks from Lila's school, my condo, 2 blocks from there. Modern layout, floor-to-ceiling windows, clean as a blueprint. I'd dropped 30 pounds, hit the gym 5 days a week, BJJ 3 nights. My joints cracked less, my shirts fit better, and for the first time in forever, I felt like I actually owned my body again. Elena was 6 months pregnant with our son. She glowed, not the fake magazine kind, but that grounded, warm kind that made you forget what stress felt like. She was still working remote as a UX lead, but already planning to take a year off when the baby came. Lila stayed with us 5 days a week now. Kayla never fought the custody shift. Probably too tired, or maybe she just knew she couldn't compete anymore. Lila was thriving, took the lead in her STEM club, already talking about early admission to Georgia Tech. She still had some growing pains, trust took time, but she opened up more, asked questions, talked through her feelings instead of burying them. She and Elena got along like sisters, maybe better. As for Kayla, she worked full-time at a mid-tier clinic near Hewlin Mall now. Nothing fancy, just general cleanings and crown work. Her social life dried up fast. No more wine club, no more mommy brunches. People backed off after the money and image disappeared. She lived in a basic 2-bedroom off Camp Bowie. No porch, no dog, no more curated illusions. She reached out occasionally, usually for something practical. Documents, schedule tweaks, a question about Lila's braces. Always formal, always short. I didn't gloat. I didn't block her either. I just stayed the course. It wasn't revenge, it was patience. It was knowing who I was and refusing to burn my own house down just because someone else lit a match. One Friday night, I came home to the smell of baked ziti and garlic bread. Elena had one hand on her belly, the other flipping through a baby name book at the kitchen counter. Lila sat across from her, sketching robot limbs for her club's next design challenge. Dinner's almost ready, Elena said without looking up. Lila grinned. I told her we should name him Turbo. I dropped my keys, kicked off my shoes, and sat between them. You're not naming my son Turbo, I said. That's a lawnmower. Lila laughed, but a fast one. I looked at the two of them, one creating life, the other becoming herself, and it hit me right then. This was the life I was meant to have, not the pretend perfect one, not the Instagram filter, just this. Dinner, laughter, plans that didn't involve damage control. And tomorrow, I'd ask Elena to marry me. My phone buzzed on the counter right as I was pulling plates from the dishwasher. Kayla. I stared at the screen for a few seconds, then answered. Yeah. Her voice was flat, too calm, like she'd rehearsed it 10 times in the mirror. I wouldn't be calling if it wasn't important, she said. I'm behind on taxes. My accountant says I might get flagged for underpayment penalties unless I make up the shortfall this month. I didn't say anything. She kept going. I know you've moved on. I'm not asking for sympathy, Jack. I'm just asking if there's any way you could help, even a short-term loan, or just a letter. Something to rebuild my vendor lines. They won't deal with me anymore. The faucet dripped behind me. The clock ticked. Lila's laughter rang from the kitchen table. "I've hit a wall," she said finally, "and I don't have anyone else." I waited a beat, then spoke. "No." Silence. "I'm not doing this to punish you," I said. "I'm doing it because if I bail you out now, you'll never actually face what you did." "You think I haven't suffered?" she asked. "I think you've learned the price of your decisions, and that's a good thing. Don't run from it now." Another long pause, then softer. "I didn't think you'd be this cold forever." "I'm not cold," I said. "I'm just done." She exhaled hard, like she wanted to argue, but didn't have the energy. "I do wish you peace, Kayla. I mean that." I hung up before she could say anything else. I turned back toward the kitchen. Elena was at the sink, belly bumping the edge of the counter, laughing at something Lila said about a robot that broke mid-presentation. The two of them were grinning like there wasn't a single crack left in the world. I watched them for a second. No words, no noise in my head. Then I walked over to the ring box on the counter, picked it up, and slid it into my pocket.